Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cinema Savvy, and welcome back to another review. My name is Tate. I'm here today to talk about another film from the London Film Festival 2023, which is starting to shape up to be quite a fantastic film festival. I had my doubts going into it. I know some of the films listed were getting good reviews and stuff like that, but I always go in with a little bit of caution based on the films that I'm being shown. And so far, I'll be perfectly honest, there's only been one film which I haven't liked, which I guess I'll talk about in a later review. We'll get to that at some point, but pretty much the festival so far, I'm 6 films in at this point on day 3, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And today I'm going to be talking about a film that I did enjoy, which is called The Bikeriders, which is a fascinating film starring Austin Butler, Tom Hardy. It's a really interesting kind of period piece set around the time of kind of biker gangs in the 60s. And delves into kind of the formation of them. Also starring Jodie Comer, who has a phenomenal performance in this. I'd be shocked if she wasn't nominated for anything for her performance in this. She's starting to become a massive star. Directed by Jeff Nichols, and I guess we'll go into this film in a second. I'm going to plug our socials before we go into things, just because, you know, we always do. We have loads of things happening in the film festival this year, so please go and follow us on all our socials. We're keeping up to tabs and up to date with everything that's going on. So please go on to there. I'm still soloing it for now, but George will be joining us hopefully soon for some coverage of the festival, and so will Jack. So we'll have loads of coverage going on of all the films screening, or at least the big hitters screening at this year's festival. So the Bikeriders. Going into this festival, it was one that I just put down purely because it was the main attraction of the day. So for people who don't really know how the festival works, on the morning of the festival, each single day, the press screenings start at some point between 8 o'clock in the morning and 8:40. So tomorrow I've got Killers of the Flower Moon. That starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. Long film, so therefore it's going to take longer. This morning, so as of today, day 3, I start off with May December, which started at 8:40, which I want to say is one of the latest starts of the festival. Really long, short film actually. And what you do is everyone kind of queues up for the first film, and you're pressed, you get access to the films anyway. But everyone queues up, and for this film, it was kind of one of those where it's quite an early morning. I was like, I mean, I've seen the trailer. It isn't really my kind of film. Do I really want to sit in for, a film that's just about bikers? Sure, it's got some actors in it that I like. It's got a director that I've enjoyed, Take Shelter. I haven't really seen any of his other films, Jeff Nichols. But it was like, do I really want to be set in for this? Sat in the theatre or the cinema, and I was immediately drawn in. I really like this film. This film oozes cool. It oozes that 60s vibe. It has a killer soundtrack, has fantastic acting and brilliant cinematography. But above all else, it tells a story of a time period. I liken it to almost Linklater films, where he's able to drop you in with like Dazed and Confused into that kind of that setting, that time period, and you just get drawn in. And this is all about the 60s bike craze, and it goes through kind of the inception of this club and kind of how the members formed. It goes through the different lives of various different members of the club, and kind of solely focuses on one of the wives of the lead members of the club. So that's played by Jodie Comer, who plays Kathy, who's the wife to Benny, played by Austin Butler, who's one of the main members. And it kind of shows kind of how she got drawn into the club, how she ended up meeting Benny, and kind of how she got not indoctrinated, but at least she got dragged along for the ride. And it shows kind of the life of the main boss of it, Johnny, played by Tom Hardy, and a variety of different characters who come in and come out. So you got like Michael Shannon, you've got Norman Reedus coming. There's a full star cast happening in the background, and the storytelling technique for this film is Mike Faced, who starred in West Side Story a few years ago. He comes in and he is an interviewer, and it's a real life interview that actually happened. And I'd love to find this book and read more about this, because this is fascinating. He went and kind of documented this bike gang out of Chicago over kind of a period of time, and he interviewed the wives, he interviewed the people in the gang, he got to know them. And This was back when kind of biker gangs were, yeah, biking's cool. We'll fight every now and then, we'll fight against other gangs and stuff like that. But, like, we're there for the love of biking. We're there for the love of, the engines and just being in a cool kind of gang, think Grease, kind of, that vibe that it gives off, you want to be part of that gang because it's the cool thing to do, and it kind of plays off that vibe throughout the film, and you get that sense of everyone wanting to join the gang just because it's cool, and everyone wanting to come along for the ride, and sure, they'll rough people up and they'll fight people, but at the end of the day, they'll all go have a beer. And that's kind of the vibe this film gives off, and you're just taken into this world, and you're given that documentary format as the forefront, and then you're actually shown what's happening in the background as well. And it's just fascinating to see their stories, all of the different character stories all the way throughout, kind of the way the kind of gang pulls and pushes apart, and the areas where they come together and the areas where they disagree upon things, and the rise of violence within the gang, the changing times, of them kind of wanting to kind of keep the glow going of the good old days. This film is fueled by nostalgia. I feel like, and they even make an Easy Rider reference in this film, with one of the characters kind of be a very funny joke, which I won't spoil for everyone here, but it really does yearn for that nostalgia of that time. And I feel like this film is going to be one of those films where people are going to love this film to start off with. I think overwhelmingly people are going to love this film. It's then going to disappear from people's minds, but it's going to probably gain a cult status amongst biker fans, people who yearn for that period, which is a dying breed, sadly. The 60s was a very long time ago, and to be that age, the correct age in the 60s, I feel like this is the film for those people, and this is the film for people yearning for that kind of rebellious streak, but also, you want to keep in contact with that world. It's fascinating. It really is. And once again, I want to throw some shout outs to some of the kind of, the cinematography of this film, the music, the soundtrack of this film may be the best of the year. It's just all the kind of music you'd expect from this kind of film, that heavy 60s vibe thrown in, but the biker gang kind of era of the 60s, as it kind of slowly kind of waltzes into the 70s, the early 70s as well, but kind of the rock end of the spectrum. It's fantastic. And then the performances, my God, the performances. One thing I will say to start off with, Austin Butler plays a character which is, I want to say, quite one note, and I know some people will be disagreeing with me on that one, but it does come through in the end. It's one of those performances where you have to wait around for it to actually be something more if you want more from that character. But to be honest, and this isn't a criticism at all by calling it a one-note character, his character note is cool. His character may be one of the coolest characters I've seen on cinema this year. It absolutely oozes style. He's just sat there in his leather jacket, just smoking a cigarette. You're literally drawn into that kind of James Dean image of, kind of just that era of cool. It's fantastic. And I feel like audiences are going to be drawn to it. And especially because Austin Butler's on a massive hot streak at the moment, with Elvis last year, with June coming out next year, he is the actor in at the moment. So to have him as kind of one of the lead roles in this film and literally just be not a man of many words, he says probably strings together about 10 sentences in the entire film, but Jesus, like, it works. It works so well. Jodie Comer is fantastic. She is just going stride to stride. She nails the accent as well, which I guess I'm going to be talking about in other films later on, because there are a lot of accents this year at this festival. A lot of twists and turns, and this film doesn't really have many twists. It does have violence in it. It does have a lot of biking, does have a lot of cool music going on, does have a lot of dancing, does have a lot of comedy in this film as well. A lot of moments where you kind of chuckle to yourself based on the situations. It's a very easygoing film. It's one of those dramas you can get behind. And realistically, I think it's probably going to get nominated for various different things. I wouldn't be too shocked if Jodie Comer gets nominated for Best Actress or Supporting Actress, depending on the category. I don't think Austin Butler will get nominated this year, but I feel like Tom Hardy could get a shout for Best Supporting Actor. This is an absolute return to form for him. He did a fantastic job in the role, and I feel like he deserves the respect from this film that he gets. Jeff Nichols could be in for Best Picture. This is one of those kind of sleeper hits that could end up being in that shout. Cinematography could be down. You know, the music and score, maybe, you know, it's a very feel-good film, and realistically, I think audiences are going to really like it. I definitely enjoyed it, which is one of the big things from the festival this year. I'm really enjoying the films that are coming out. They're all fun and exciting, which seems like a far cry from various different years where I've come out of cinemas going, ugh, this is, you know, this was miserable. Like, why did I trudge in the morning for this kind of thing? And realistically, it's for the love of film. And this is a massive, for the love of film, go watch this film kind of film. I really enjoyed it. And I hope that people who kind of go after the cinemas and watch it over the festival period and stuff like that really enjoy it as well. So that was my very brief review of the Bikeriders. As you can tell, I enjoyed it. If you want to see our other reviews coming out from the festival, because we're going to have loads coming out from the festival, I've got to go and record basically 4 back-to-back now, which is going to be great. You're going to get loads of content coming over the next few days from myself, from George, from Jack, from loads of friends to the channel and stuff like that. Especially because Ahsoka is now finished, so we've got a lot of other things that we're going to be focusing on over this month. So please go and follow us on our social media channels, just because you'll be able to go and find all of the things. We got a Twitter thread going. I'm updating daily on the Instagram as well, based on the films that we're watching. So please go and follow our content over there, just to go and support the channel, because this is a very busy period. And of course, watch the reviews of the films that you want to watch at the festival. But go and check out the other films, because maybe there's a sleeper hit in there. Maybe one that you never even thought of out of your wildest dreams. Go and watch every single review from the festival, because suddenly you might go, oh, I didn't know that film was coming out. I didn't know that film was on my radar. And suddenly you'll end up watching a film like The Bikeriders, like I did today, where, you know, it's like, wow, that was fantastic. Let's go and review that. Let's go and watch that. So thank you ever so much for watching, everyone. I will see you very soon in the next video when I'm recording. We will be releasing them staggered, by the way, don't worry. But please go and check out reviews from the other films at the festival. Thank you and goodbye.